Good morning, everyone. If I could just have you gather in a little bit closer, that way I'm not having to scream. That's what I thought.
We got microphone.
Thank you. I'm usually not one for a microphone, but I'll use it. Good morning and welcome to the Veterans Park groundbreaking ceremony for the communities of Templeton, East Templeton, Baldwinville, and Otter River. I'm Mike Euvrard. I'm a retired Master Sergeant in the United States Army. I'm the chairman of the Veterans Advisory Board and member of the Veterans Park working group. Today we break ground on our community's Veterans Park. It's conceived by veterans, designed by veterans, to be built by veterans. When completed, it will be a tranquil place for veterans, their families and friends to gather, relax, and reflect. Please join us now for the national anthem to be sung by Brielle Heath, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the peril and the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great job, Brielle. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to recognize some of our guests present here today. First and foremost, our Director of Veterans Services, Shelia Pelletier. Without her tireless efforts, we would not be at this point today. Jim Brehio, a member of the National Executive Committee, American Legion, past commander of Post 373, and many other Legion postings. If I mentioned them all, we'd be here for about 3 hours. Thank you, Jim. John Kaplis, our former chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Jackie Prime, Director of Community Services. Brian O'Coin, present commander, American Legion Post 373, and Jim Cutting, incoming commander, American Legion Post 373. And of course, TCTV, as they record us today. I'd now like to introduce Jim Brehio, who would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mike. It's only fitting that this Veterans Park be located here. If we look back many years ago, just after World War I, American Legion Post 141 was established here in Templeton. They met at the school on top of the hill. And now we meet just across the street from this park. So the park is right in the middle of where the veterans have called home for many years. I was looking at the history of the GI Bill the other night. And after several pages, I realized that there's a connection with what we're doing here and some of the things that went on when building the GI Bill. First of all, the GI Bill is generally regarded as the greatest legislation coming out of the 20th century. It was signed into law on June 22nd, 1944, 75 years ago today. The GI Bill was drafted by American Legion National Commander Harry Conley. The bill had a bumpy road to getting through the House and through the Senate and getting through the other veterans organizations. At one point, the VFW was against it. The Veterans of the Purple Heart Association, the DAV were all opposed. In time, they all got back on board. It was the small details that were the problems. The House and the Senate both wanted to chop it up. They didn't want the whole package. They wanted, yes, we'll give you housing, and yes, we'll give you some money when you get back and we get out of the service. This is 1944, remind, World War II is still going on. And the Legion wouldn't stand for that. Either you're going to get the whole package, you're going to get the whole package, is what it really meant. And they worked hard, very hard. And a couple of things that were sticking points was what they call the 52-20, which for 52 weeks after you get out of the service, you would get $20 a week. That will get you off the streets and get you someplace to stay. Wasn't much money, but 75 years ago, it was quite a bit of money. Education became a problem, where they would educate all the veterans, and the paid benefits were also a problem. In the end, it all came together, but the biggest sticking point was there's a group that did not want blacks or women to receive the VA benefits within the GI Bill. But the Legion stood strong and got it through, stating that a veteran is a veteran. This park is unlike the monuments we see around town. If you look over here, we see our monuments. There's one that's recently been renovated for World War II, the ugly-looking World War I memorial. They have the names, and there's one for Korea and Vietnam over here. Unlike, and you go to Otter River, there's one for World War II. East Templeton is a World War II. Templeton Center is a World War I memorial of a soldier putting a wreath on a gravesite. And there's the World War II memorial there. So this park, unlike all the others, are to honor the men and women who served our country in uniform, whether it's the United States Army, United States Marine Corps, United States Navy, United States Air Force, or the United States Coast Guard. There is no greater honor than to serve the greatest country in the world and the greatest military of that country, as we have served in time of war and time of peace. As we did back in 1944, or what was said back in 1944 when the GI Bill, a veteran is a veteran. And here, this park is for all veterans. So thank you very much. I do have one thing. I could have the commander come up, and Shelia. As I said previously, we have one very good looking World War II monument over there. That was through a fundraiser of the American Legion. We have also raised enough funds to clean up and restore the World War I memorial. Commander has a check. Shelia, if you would take that on behalf of the American Legion to get that fixed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you to the American Legion, my fellow Legionnaires, for that generous donation. Donations is what's going to make this park travel. We do have a budget by the CPC, but it's going to take a lot of hard work and some donations by individuals like the Legion to see this thing through. I'd like to now introduce the Director of Veteran Services and our project lead, Shelia Pelletier.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everybody to show up here today. This isn't a great event for just veterans, but also for the community. As I've learned over the last day or so, is that we haven't had this event in this community in such a long time. So it's really something that I think everybody is going to be proud of. So the vision of this Veterans Park, there is a map over to my left-hand side that shows you what we are planning to do here. It'll be something that is a living memorial, as Jim said. It will be for all veterans. It will be for anybody who signed on that dotted line and said that they would serve for this country. We also have a brick campaign to honor service members. So the brick campaign is right behind me. You can see an example of the brick, and you can sign up for bricks to honor those that have served or to show your appreciation to veterans. There'll be 7 flags that'll be around a monument. The monument will be plain granite. That way everybody will know and think about and reflect about their life and those that have gone before them and served. The 7 flags will represent the American flag, which will be in the middle, the 5 branches, and a POW MIA flag. The park is going to be maintained by the DPW, and the Legion is going to maintain the brick campaign. We feel this is a community park, and it is right here on a busy road, as you can see, so many people are going to be able to see this and stop. There'll be picnic tables and benches. But we need volunteers to help and maintain this park. We want it to be a piece of pride for the town. We want it also to be someplace that people feel like they can gather and have ceremonies to honor graduates or 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day. Well, a lot of people had to come together to get this to work. So I want to thank the CPC, the Community Preservation Committee, for their help, and the Conservation Committee. Without them, this wouldn't have been possible because they provided the funding. And that was through John Kaplis, who kicked this off in 2015. So we've come a long way to get to this point. I don't want John's efforts to go unseen, and I definitely want the CPC and the Conservation Committee to get a big hand of applause for allowing us to do this. I also have a lot of people that helped me through this process. So everybody who's on the Veterans Advisory Board are friends of Templeton Veterans. Can you please raise your hand so people can identify who you are? Thank you again. Without you, this isn't possible. It definitely takes a village, one person. I just keep the ball rolling, but everybody else helps me do all the planning and stuff. So please, thank you so much for your help and your continued support. I also would like to recognize the Legion, who has been there. They've supported me. They're helping me with the brick campaign and helping me to remember the things that we may not remember, which to put into the park, like a POW MIA flag. The other thing is the town community. Without the community here, we wouldn't be able to do this. And so the support of the community is important for the success of this park. The last thing is the Board of Selectmen. Because without the Board of Selectmen, they approved the park in 2015, and they continued to put this on their list of projects that needed to be done. Mike Curry was going to be a guest speaker today. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. He had already had plans, but he will be here on November 11th when we're hoping to have the grand opening. And I have a thank you letter from Terry Griffiths, who is new to our Board of Selectmen. So I'd like to take the moment to read that to you. She said, "Dear Sheila, thank you for your service to our country and the veterans in our community. Thank you for taking your time to come to the Board of Selectmen meeting, presenting your report and plans going forward with our Veterans Park. I appreciate the personal invitation to myself and my family to attend the groundbreaking ceremony June 22nd at 10 a.m. Unfortunately, I will be across town conducting swimming sign-ups on that day at the exact time. I wholeheartedly applaud you and our veterans for your continued service to our community and for continuing to foster a sense of pride in America. God bless the USA. My heart is full, and I look forward to more involvement in the future. Sincerely, Selectman Terry Griffiths. P.S. Please give my best to all involved. So the next thing that I want to know is what I wanted to say, as Mike has mentioned, donations and volunteering. This park has a restricted budget. Right now we're below it, but we're looking for donations for plants and shrubs to put along the hillside. Volunteer days, August 17th and 18th. Come here and we'll have a list of things that need to be completed, as well as November 2nd and 3rd to prep the park for the grand opening. So at this time, I'd like Brielle Heath to come up to the, and Mike Euvrard. So first of all, thank you so much. This is a challenge for me. It's yours. So Brielle, this is a certificate of appreciation presented to Brielle Heath. In appreciation of your participation, at the Veterans Park groundbreaking ceremony, 22 June 2019, your voluntary for singing the national anthem during the ceremony demonstrates your dedication to giving back to the community and honoring those who gave their lives to protect our freedoms. Your singing was instrumental in ensuring the success of this event. We are proud to recognize your efforts to honor our servicemen and women who sacrificed so much while serving in the United States military. Signed, Michael Euvrard and Shelia Pelletier.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you again, Brielle. I'd be remiss if I said Sheila gives members of the Veterans Advisory Board, the Friends of Templeton Veterans, and our working group for the park so much credit. This park is 95% Sheila, 5% the rest of us. So without her, honestly, endless hours of travel, research, negotiations, penny pinching, we're at the point we are today. So thank you, Sheila. I'd like to invite Jim Brehio, John Kaplis, Sheila to gather around the shovel for our groundbreaking ceremony. Ready? 1, 2, 3, push. Oh, there we go. They probably were right. Ready before? Woohoo! On behalf of the communities of Templeton, East Templeton, Baldwinville, and Otter River, and all of the veterans here for joining us today on this joyous occasion, please join us for some light refreshments following this ceremony, and feel free to review the plan, look at the brick, and ask any questions you want. Thank you, and God bless America. Woo!